They said it was a routine discovery, a simple, predictable occurrence. But the truth is, nothing about it was simple, and very little was truly understood. The official narratives, those meticulously crafted statements designed to offer absolute clarity, quickly began to unravel under scrutiny. What was presented as a complete account, a definitive record of events, felt more like a carefully edited summary. The documents that should have provided foundational details, the raw data points expected in any comprehensive report, were conspicuously absent. It was as if crucial pages had been deliberately removed from the archive, leaving behind only the most anodyne, sanitized versions of reality. This initial sanctioned telling, meant to settle all questions, instead ignited the first sparks of doubt. Yet, beneath the surface of these official pronouncements, faint signals began to coalesce. Not in bold, direct contradictions, but in the subtle textures of omission, in the unusual, recurring gaps within otherwise exhaustive logs. We meticulously cross-referenced peripheral reports, the kind typically overlooked, filed away as minor footnotes. There, hidden in plain sight, we found repeated instances of entries marked unverified or anomalous data spike, notations that hinted at something inexplicable, something that refused to be neatly categorized. These weren't explicit challenges to the official story, but rather persistent echoes of a deeper, unsettling reality. A consistent pattern began to emerge from the inconsistencies, a history of discarded details that, when viewed together, formed an entirely different picture than the one presented. The deeper we ventured, the more apparent it became that these absences were not accidental. This was no mere oversight, no administrative error. It was a deliberate act of profound omission. Essential records that should have been created, standard witness statements that should have been taken, follow-up protocols that should have been rigorously initiated, they were simply not there. Instead, we uncovered a distinct and abrupt shift in communication patterns among key personnel, particularly around a critical time frame, a sudden cessation of discussion. The raw data wasn't just missing, it felt meticulously removed, erased from the collective memory. One could almost feel the silent, unspoken directive to move on, to accept the comfortable, prepackaged statement as the final, immutable truth. The very silence surrounding these events transformed into the most compelling, damning piece of evidence. The methodology employed then, the precise way information was managed, controlled, and ultimately sculpted, casts a long and disturbing shadow into our present. The immediate dismissal of anything that dared to challenge a pre-established narrative. The quiet but systematic archiving of inconvenient details. The subtle but undeniable pressure to conform to a simplified, easily digestible truth. It wasn't an isolated incident. It was, rather, a carefully refined blueprint for managing public perception, a template for shaping collective memory through strategic subtraction. Understanding this particular instance isn't merely an exercise in historical investigation. It's about recognizing the enduring mechanisms at play, the patterns that continue to influence how we perceive events in our own time. This was more than a mere historical curiosity. It served as a stark demonstration, a quiet, unsettling unveiling of how effortlessly a complex, multifaceted reality can be compressed into a palatable, acceptable fiction. And, perhaps more importantly, it shows how incredibly difficult it becomes to reconstruct those scattered fragments once they have been dispersed. The question isn't whether this pattern happened. The question is why no one acknowledged it sooner.